Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to work up this crocheted slouchy hat. It's got a small amount of ribbing and a really fun, easy, quick workup on the pattern, and you only decrease a couple of times at the very top, and that's it. It is done. You make it as long or tall as you wish. I will tell you what I did, and you can go from there. Mine is not like a super slouchy, but semi-slouchy. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is figure out what kind of, color scheme you might want, or if you want to do it in a solid. This is I love this yarn. I don't have the label handy, or I would show it to you. Nope, I do not have it handy. But at any rate, this was one of the dye lot discounted yarns, so it may not even be available anymore. But anyway, I used one skein, had some left over, used it for the whole entire hat. For the tutorial, I will be using some leftover red heart that I have, and it's like a beige cream color, tan color. I'm going to use that for the brim, and it's an acrylic worsted weight. And for the top of the hat, I'm going to use some of my hand-dyed, I love this wool, for the top. So acrylic for the brim and wool for the top. I know it seems weird, but it'll be okay. So this was a test dye yarn for a yarn that I was making as a gift. And I had this in my stock and said, you know what? No better way to use it than on a hat. So that's the two that I will be using. I also will be using a 5.5 and a 6mm hook. The 6mm hook is what I am going to do my foundation chain with. After I do that, I will switch over to the 5.5. For your foundation chain, you will need a chain of 74. So place a slip knot on your hook and chain 74, slip stitching them together at the end, making sure that you do not twist your chain. One easy way that you can do it is chain just about 5 chains, give or take, and then remove your hook, insert your hook into the first chain, place the loop back on your hook, and continue chaining. That, once you are done chaining, you can just simply slip it through, and your circle will be complete without any twists. So, if you so wish, you can do that. If you would like to do a double crochet foundation row, you're more than welcome to do that, because after the chain, you're going to do one full round of double crochet. So however you see fit, whatever works best for you, you may do this. I will be doing a chain of 74, slip stitching, and then working into the back bumps, 1 double crochet in every stitch, for a total of 74 double crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and do my chain of 74. I will come back, I'll slip stitch and get started on the double crochet round. All right, so once you have your chain of 74, you can chain 2, 3, or do what I like to do. So you pull up your stitch to the height of a double crochet, and you place your finger onto the hook, wrap your hook around that loop, and go back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through the last 2. That gives it a double crochet appearance. And now you're just simply going to place 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around, making sure that you have a total of 74 double crochets at the end. You will slip stitch to the top of your chain or your mock double crochet, however you wish. If you have done a double crochet foundation row, I'll catch up with you at the end of this row. All right, so once you have your 74 double crochets, you're just simply going to slip stitch to the top of either your chain or your mock double crochet. And I did switch down, I forgot to mention before starting the double crochet round, I forgot to mention I did drop down to the 5.5. And from here on out, that is what you are going to use. You will no longer need your 6mm hook. All right, so now we're going to do a front post, back post ribbing, and let me show you how I do that. I do not chain from this point. I actually go around the post as if it was a front post and slip stitch. That brings that post to the front. And now you can chain, if you will, a chain 3. Now we're going to work into the back post and work around the back post. And then the front post. And you're just going to continue alternating 1 back post, 1 front post, all the way around, and slip stitch to the top of your chain. You will start every round of your brim, the back post and the front post, exactly the same, working around that first stitch. When I come to the end of this round, I will show you how to end it and start the next round. We're going to do a total of 3 rounds of front post, back post. All right, I'm coming up to my last stitch, which is, and should be for you, a back post double crochet. You started with a front post, and we're ending with a back post. Now, this is how I end the round. Instead of slip stitching to the top of that chain, I insert my hook from the back of the work. I yarn over and slip stitch. That now brings that post to the front, so it continues to make a front post effect. Now you can chain 1, 2, and 3 and continue back post, front post, all the way around, and just work that round, beginning and ending the same way for a total of 2 more rounds. So you will have your first double crochet round, the first front post, back post round, and 2 additional rounds after that. That will give you a total of 4 rounds for your brim. Now, if you would like to shrink this down just a hair, you would do it by 2 stitches. So 72, 70, so on and so forth, to make this smaller. I like it at this size because of the way that it sits on your head. So I'm going to go ahead and work 2 more rounds of that, and then I will switch to my wool, hand-dyed wool, and show you what to do next. All right, so I've come to the end of my last round of front post, back post, double crochets, and I am this time going to slip stitch to the top of my chain 3. I'm going to chain 1, 2, and cut away from my ball of yarn because I am changing colors. Now, you do not have to do that if you are not changing colors. cut away, and I'll show you why I changed 2. I'm going to pull that loop all the way through and scoot those chains all the way down to my work. So that creates a good little tight knot there. So as I said, I'm going to be changing colors. If you are not changing colors, you would chain 1 and single crochet into the same stitch. Because I'm changing colors, I'm going to go ahead and get back into that stitch, pull my new color through, and chain 1 and single crochet back into that same stitch. You're going to place 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. You will have a total of 74 single crochets when you have reached the end. You will then slip stitch to your very first single crochet. I'll meet back up with you at that point to go over what to do next. All right, so from here until we get to the point of decreasing, these are going to be your next 2 round repeats. So it is a 2 round repeat. We're going to do the first round. I will show you the repeat and then come back and meet up with you at the end of the round and show you how to do round 2 repeat. So to begin with, you're going to chain 1, 2, and 3 and place a double crochet back into that same stitch. Then you're going to chain 1 and 2 and single crochet back into that same stitch. Now we're going to skip 1, 2, and into the third stitch, we're going to do the same thing. Place 2 double crochets, chain 2, and single crochet into the same stitch. That is your repeat all the way around. All right, so once you have made it all the way around, you should have 2 single crochets left before the end of the round. We're going to skip those 2 and slip stitch to the top of your chain 3 to end the round. All right, once you've slip stitched to the top of your chain 3, you're going to slip stitch over to your chain 2 space. This is your round 2 repeat. Chain 1 and single crochet back into the chain 2 space. And chain 1, 2, and 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space. So this round, we are working the opposite of what we did the last round. The last round, we started with 2 double crochets, chain 2, 1 single crochet, all into the same stitch. Now we're starting with a single crochet, a chain 2, and 2 double crochets, all into the chain 2 space. Now you're going to skip over the next 2 double crochets and into your chain 2 space. You will repeat single crochet, 1, 2 chains, and then 2 double crochets all into that chain 2 space. And you repeat that all the way around. Once you have come to the end of the round, you will slip stitch to your very first single crochet. Then you will slip stitch into your chain 2 space, and you will repeat round 1. And then you'll repeat round 2, and so on and so forth until you have it the height that you desire before we start to decrease. For this particular situation, this hat, I did a total of 16 rows, starting from our very first repeat round. So that is what I did for mine. I did a total of 16 rounds of the 2-round repeat. At that point, I will meet back up with you. Again, this is, you know, however you wish. If you want it to be extra long, go for it. There's just a couple rounds of decreases here at the very top. So you can make this as tall as you want or as short as you want. That is entirely up to you. I'm just giving you the amount of rounds that I have done and that I will be doing on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on for a total of 16 rounds, and I'll meet back up with you for our first decreasing round on round 17 of this repeat pattern. Okay, so if you're following along with me and you've done 16 of these rows, you should end with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. And I just automatically went to the next chain space, so here we go. All right, so I'm slip stitched to the first single crochet. This is going to be your first decrease round. Slip stitch to your chain 2 space, and now we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, double crochet back into the same chain 2 space, chain 1, 2, single crochet. So we're just like we're going to do the next round, same type of pattern. The previous round started with the single crochet and ended with the double crochets. This round, same thing, we're repeating it. The change is where the decrease happens, and that's what we're going to do in the next stitch. So generally, we would move on to our next stitch and work into the chain 2 space what we just did, a single crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and or 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and single crochet. So the next step is to single crochet into the next chain 2 space. So single crochet into it. That's all you're going to do to that spot. Now you're going to repeat that step all the way around. So now we're going to go back and into our next chain 2 space. We're going to do the 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 1 single crochet all into that same stitch. And then your next chain 2 space gets a single crochet. That is your repeat all the way around for this round. One more time. The next chain 2 space is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 1 single crochet, all in the chain 2 space. And then you're going to skip over to your next chain 2 space and single crochet. And just repeat. I'm going to meet back up with you at the end of this round to show you the next round. Okay, so when you've come to the end of the row, it does not matter whether you ended with the 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet, and then that's it. It does not matter. It's fine. If you ended with a single crochet, that's fine too. It does not matter. We're just simply doing a decrease. It'll all work out in the long run. Where you've ended, you're going to slip stitch to your very first chain 3 to the top of that chain 3, just like we've done all along here. And then we're going to slip stitch over to our chain 2 space, the same as we have been doing. And we're going to work the next round exactly as it should be worked, as we have worked previously. So this time we're going to chain 1 and single crochet back into the same chain 2 space, chain 1, 2, and 2 double crochets back into that same chain 2 space. Then you're going to reach over to your next chain 2 space. Now we're jumping over 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets. We're jumping straight over to the next chain 2 space. And we're going to single crochet, chain 1, 2, and 2 double crochets all into the chain 2 space. And that is your repeat all the way around. You're going to skip the 2 single crochets, the 2 double crochets, and work into your chain 2 spaces as you have been doing. And single crochet, chain 1, 2, and 2 double crochets. Work that round, and I will meet up with you at the end of the round. All right, and once you've come to the end, you're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet and slip stitch into the chain 2 space. We're going to do another decrease round just like we just did. Same exact thing. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, double crochet back into the same chain 2 space, chain 1 and 2, and single crochet back into that chain 2 space. Now we're going to skip the next single crochet and go into the next chain 2 space and place a single crochet. Then we're going to skip over to our next chain 2 space, so skip your 2 double crochets and your single crochet, and we're going to work the same 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2, and single crochet back into that same chain 2 space. You will work this round exactly like that with those repeats. I'll meet up with you at the end. Okay, so once you have reached the end of that round, you're going to slip stitch to the very top of your chain 3, just as we've done previously. And now you're going to slip over to your chain 2 space. And now you're going to chain 1 and single crochet back into the same chain space. And you're going to skip all the way over to your next chain 2 space and single crochet. Once again, you're going to skip all the way over to your next chain 2 space and single crochet. And once again, you're going to skip all the way over to your next chain 2 space and single crochet. And once again, slip all the way over here, skip all the way over to your next single or your next chain 2 space and single crochet. And we are going to, let me see if I can find the end here. Here we are. We're going to skip over to our next chain 2 space and single crochet. And we're going to skip over and single crochet to the next chain 2 space. And now we're back at the beginning. We're going to skip over to our very first single crochet and slip stitch to it. And now you will cut enough of a tail to sew up the top little itty bitty hole right here. It don't take much because it is a very tiny little itty bitty hole that's left over. And if you wanted to, you could decrease around as well. But this is how I made it. And I'm just going to grab a needle here. Just a darning needle and a pair of scissors. And I'm going to cut away from the ball. Place the yarn on my needle, and I'm going to pick up that loop that I had left over and pull my tail through and tighten it down. And then all I'm going to do is weave in and out of the single crochets, stitches, all the way around. So that way I can cinch it closed, that hole closed. Then I will insert my needle into the hat and weave in my tails. That will be the end of this hat pattern. And while I weave in these tails, I just want to say that I hope that you have enjoyed this hat pattern and found it very easy to follow and enjoyable, because it's only a couple of repeats instead of a whole bunch of decreases and a whole bunch of repeats. And I also want to say, be blessed and be a blessing. Whoops. I'll sew the last little ones in, but to give you an overshot view of the hat. As you can see, it's grouped together at the top, but that is the overall shape of the hat. And if you would like to make it, you know, much taller, that's perfectly okay. It doesn't matter. However you want to work it, it's perfectly okay. Do it however you want. This is the design that I made for the tutorial, and very basic, very simple. Couple row repeat, couple of decreases, and a very simple relief stitch, front post, back post pattern. Very, very, very simple. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, and be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, everyone, bye for now.